So, how do we change the world? Isn't it about getting our ideas out to the masses and even embodying them ourselves? We must share these ideas, yes? And how do we get these ideas of personal self ownership and freedom out to the world? Through art and through media, what we're doing right now. This is where the new battle seems to be, is to create music and comedy, books, and film. I'm very excited to mention a project I'm working on here. But hey, everybody, welcome to Voluntary Living with me, David James Rodriguez, where we are building a world based on consent, self ownership, and freedom, one relationship at a time. A lot of exciting things to happen to share with you. It's happening because many people don't realize there is a worldwide awakening that's happening. I call it the Great Self Ownership Awakening. And there's many people who are realizing that government is a criminal entity. God bless all the government workers who are moral and peaceful. But at the highest level, it is a tool to control, rob, and harm peaceful people, to keep them in line. So this is the truth that's rising. It's not just in California, in Arizona, in Texas, and Florida, New Hampshire, England, Mexico, Lieberland. It's in Europe. It's going everywhere. So that's why I want to come on and talk a little bit about what's been happening the last few weeks for me and even months. First, I want to talk about Hurricane Helene and all the devastation that's going there in North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee. We send you guys healing and resolve and solutions. And turns out the grassroots people, these are the ones who are solving the problem. The people who are preparing, the people who are not dependent on the government. Because we saw with Katrina what happens when you depend on the government. And Hurricane Helene is larger than Katrina. So again, mass suspicion, mass uh, damage and tragedy happening there. And we just want to, pray for all those people and help those people if you can. If you're in the area, document what's going on. There was one lady trying to figure out what's going on. It's still fresh for me. I haven't been caught up on all the details of the scenario, but it's definitely tragic. So live stream what's going on, document what's going on, and then we can figure out later as we try to put the pieces together. But it looks like FEMA's blocking some people, and the real grassroots help is being stopped. So that's not okay. We need to resolve this and at least be aware of it, because the hurricane even looks suspicious. I saw some of the memes and some of the patents that have been going out. The government's been controlling weather for a long time. This is not some new idea. It's just becoming more open and apparent because the media's been less controlled and the truth is coming out. That's the good news. Amongst all the many good things happening on the planet, the good news is that the truth comes out, especially now with this decentralized planet with media and these types of platforms, some of which are controlled, but hopefully this goes on Odyssey. We put it on BitChute. I don't know, any other free speech platforms out there that you like. This is on Instagram and YouTube and Odyssey and these other ones. But we got to get the message out and document what's happening, because people are suffering unnecessarily because they just don't know. They put their trust in government. They put their trust in other entities. And the reality is that people have self-interest. So if they're not financially incentivized, most people won't do it. And of course, there's many good people that will do it, helping out and being humanitarian. But that's when it's like life and death. Have you seen the video? Chest high water in the living room. So was this controlled? Maybe. The hurricane looked very suspicious, didn't it? So I just invite everyone that's on the ground there to video record what's happening, document it, take pictures so we can find out what's going on, because there's a lot of misinformation out there. But we know that the camera is probably the fairest judge that there is. So just keep documenting what's going on there. I want to tell you about the People's Reset. How many of you guys have heard about the People's Reset? Yes, hopefully, because Klaus Schwab and his cronies, they have the Great Reset, and Derek Bros and John Bush and Hakeem Anwar and the team over there have the Greater Resets now evolved to the People's Reset. Because when this currency collapses, okay, United States money, the Federal Reserve private currency, fiat, when that thing goes down, that's when they're vulnerable. That's when we want to be aware that say this reset, this currency reset is to empower the people. They're going to try to enslave us with the central banking digital currency and a digital ID and use, as they say, not to let a good crisis go to waste. So we know about the problem, reaction, solution. We know this is their method. So it's up to us as the men and women on the planet, the visionary people, to come up with solutions and to preempt these types of problems. If you haven't seen the new track by Presence, amazing music called PSYOP, openly calling out they're going to do another false flag. Helene might have been one of them. So I just want to share this first event in England. What an honor, a joy to be out there with the conscious people who are beginning to realize that the government's just a gang and they're not going to bring any solutions. So it's up to us to create it. And that's what they're doing out there. The next one is going to be in January in Morelia, Mexico. I intend to be out there as well. And I invite you to come down there. Come down to Mexico. Come see what's going down in an area where the people have distrust for the government. Because when I see many of my friends, people that I love, and they put blind trust in the government, I'm like, what are you guys doing? Have you not seen the pandemic? Have you not seen 9/11? Have you not seen Freedom from Fascism, the documentary? So many facts and so many pieces of evidence to prove that you can't depend on politicians. And anybody who depends on politicians is either highly confused, deceived, or hallucinating, or something else. Again, I used to be a big believer in politicians, or not a big one, but I thought they were legitimate. Turns out they're not. So there's very positive news happening around the world. I invite you to look at the People's Reset. Also, I want to announce we are doing a movie project. This is very exciting because we're talking about getting these ideas of exit and build, personal responsibility, self-ownership, voluntary relationships, mutual aid groups, intentional neighborhoods. These ideas are rock solid. And so the question is, how do we get it out there? Well, an amazing movie director, Rene Perez, and I have partnered up to make this film titled Sacred Life. And you can see more about it at antiwokemovie.com or sacredlifemovie.com. But this is a powerful way to show people what it's like when you grow your own food, what it's like when you educate your own children, what is it like when you have your own conflict resolution and you're not depending on some third party to charge you, extort you, and destroy you as a way of helping. Some of our friends are in the family and the Department of Child Health courts. Oh man, their child and family court is not a solution. So we want to showcase these solutions with an amazing, courageous director. And you can go see some of his other movies for free. You can watch it tonight. There's a great film called Righteous Blood, which is on YouTube for free, or Amazon as well. And there's The Insurrection. There's Pro God, Pro Gun, which is another film. So it takes a lot of courage to put together a movie project to share the truth about what's going on in the planet. And Rene Perez has been doing that for many years. So take a look at what he's been doing at the rebellionflix.com, FLIX. We're very excited about this project. We just launched this crowdfunding campaign. We got some backers, and we're looking for more supporters out there. So if you can throw in a few bucks, a few $100, if you're someone with some larger capital, become an associate producer, become an executive producer. And we just have big dreams and goals to make films and maybe some TV show so that we can get these ideas out there. Because what do you do when you know you have the winning idea, the winning solution? You want to go tell the world. And Murray Rothbard, working for 50 years on the books, very powerful stuff. Lysander Spooner, 150 years. Samuel Konkin. How do you get these ideas out there? We got to use media. And that's what this is all about. So I want to make sure, can you guys hear me okay? Make sure the audio is working on both these platforms, which are both highly shadow banned. Unbelievable. Maybe we'll try a new stream on the next channel and see what happens there. Also, this is an election year, so be aware that there's going to be people dressed in suits and saying that they're your representatives, and you've never met them, you've never spoken with them, you've never consented to them, that they're going to use coercion and terrorism and deception to tell you that you have elected them as your representative. It doesn't matter if you're on the red side or the blue side, the left side, the right side. It doesn't matter. Those are all sides of statism. Those are all sides of coercion, and more accurately titled coercionists. So if you use coercion, if you participate in coercion, that's being a coercionist. And what I spoke about in England last week was the voluntary way. And the voluntary way is I only participate in voluntary relationships, and I do not participate in coercive relationships. So that takes a lot of courage and strength and moral code, because we've been trained to pursue the money, pursue the dollars. So a lot of us don't have a strong, righteous code inside of us, a code of honor that we can lean on and depend upon. But that's what's needed more. And this is the moral awakening. This is what's happening. More and more, you're going to see people who are criminals or coercive people. They're going to be identified. They're going to be isolated. We don't want these people in our community, correct? We don't want bad actors in our community. So we're just going to video record them, identify them, and then when they try to come and join the community, we say, sorry, we have evidence that you have been using coercion against peaceful people, and it's not acceptable, and it's no longer tolerable. This is why we're doing this types of show, to help people understand you don't have to participate in the left and the right. If you don't like Trump and you don't like Kamala, that's okay. That's actually the visionary position, because the majority of people don't participate in the electoral process. And I think it's around 60% that have not participated. Excuse me, 40% don't participate in the political process. And how it was in the previous election was like 28 versus 29, allegedly. So the people who believe in self-ownership and freedom, we are the majority. We've just been quiet. We've been silent. We've been watching people around us lead us. And that's not what we're going to do anymore. This year, 2024, 2025, 2026, 2027, where do you see your life, your family, your friends, the world that we are all living in? Where do you envision it? I invite you to consider having a dream, having a goal. Start to speak it, start to believe it, start to do some affirmations. I did some in my talk. If you want to take a look at Odyssey channel, look under the People's Reset. You can see my talk there. It's about 2.5 hours into day 2. And we did some affirmations, because the inner awakening, this is where the real work is. Stop looking outside. Start looking inside. And if you're going to partner up with some, independent people, fine. You find some alliances, find some people that you can agree with, great. But the real hard work, the heavy lifting is inside. I got to take a look in the mirror. I invite you to take a look in the mirror. We can't blame anybody anymore, because if you're a king or a queen, which I believe you are, then you are responsible for your kingdom. And this body is the kingdom or the temple, and whatever property that you want to assign to your kingdom. But we can't look for any other person out there to be responsible. We are the ones. So another topic I briefly mentioned and I love is called intergenerational freedom. And intergenerational freedom is the transfer of the truth of the knowledge of self-ownership to all the young people around us. This is the idea that must win over the intergenerational slavery, which we're seeing through statism. We don't have the chains on our bodies anymore. The chains are up here. So when I ask you who owns your body, what comes up? When I ask you who's responsible for your safety and freedom, what comes up? Is it the government? No. Have you read the Declaration of Independence? Anybody out there read the Declaration of Independence? Who has not read the Declaration of Independence? Have you read the Constitution? I have. These are documents which have been, well, at least the Declaration of Independence has been helpful in the history. But the Constitution, I read it. It says the Congress has the power to lay taxes. Congress has the power to declare war. Now, taxes is a euphemism for robbery, right? Yes. And war is a euphemism for mass murder. So we need to evolve beyond that. And that's what's happening. All these events that I just mentioned, there's a lot of excitement happening. I want to let you know there's a lot of energy rising. And it's up to us to plant the seeds of freedom, plant the seeds of destiny for the children, for the grandchildren, for the intergenerations that are coming behind us, because they're going to look in our eyes just as we look in our parents' eyes and we say, what did you guys do? You saw what was going on with the Federal Reserve in 1913. You saw with the wars and all these things. And what did you guys do? Oh, we put a name of a politician on a piece of paper, and that's how we're going to get free. No, read the Declaration of Independence. Understand, our rights come from God, the creator, source, nature, humanity. They don't come from politicians. So you have source, nature, humanity. You have humans, and you have politicians. So it's time to rearrange it, because they've deceived so many of us. And that's why I'm so passionate to get the kids out of the school system. That's where this begins. They're attacking the children. And we need to begin being thoughtful in our actions for ourselves and all the people around us. Yes, we want to be abundant, have all the good things, and identify the good actors around us. Actors meaning good people, okay? People that are acting morally, acting righteously, and that's how we're going to determine this new society. So to exit and build solution, it's intergenerational, and they got what, a month or so to this selection of whatever's going to happen, and these guys don't even know us, and we don't know them. So I invite you to build the community, start reaching out to friends, say hello, and this is what it's about. You know, take a risk, go out and make some new relationships. This is the closing point I intended to make there, the speech, which is one action to do today and tomorrow is to go join some groups, go meet some people, go find the good, honest, moral people, because when the real false flag happens in your neighborhood or mine, we're going to want to know who are the good, honest, kind people around us and who are the predators. And this is a very difficult decision if you haven't done the work. So these are some of the messages I want to share with you, what's going on. We send peace to Hurricane Helene victims, and all. Thank you for all the helpers that are working out. Thank you for the People's Reset and Derek Bros and Dan Aston Gregory, and the people that helped create that, and all the sponsors. The movie campaign, go to antiwokemovie.com if you want to support us. Don't be duped by the elections, selections, and if we start focusing on intergenerational freedom, which is the transfer of the knowledge to the of self-ownership to the young people around us, then we start to think bigger and think more courageously and clearer. So thank you for joining me here on Voluntary Living, where we are building a world based on consent, self-ownership, and freedom, one relationship at a time. See you on the next video.